Welcome to the Rebirthing Breathwork Summit, a free online event where you'll learn to integrate the power of conscious energy breathing to transform your mind, body, and spirit. Share this online event with your friends and family and join the conversation inside our Facebook group, Rebirthing Breathwork Summit. And now your host, Devendra Narayan.
Welcome everyone to the Global Rebirthing Breathwork Summit. This session is called Rebirthing Breathwork and How Prana Changes One's Reality. Our speaker is Chitra Kaul. Chitra has been highly intuitive since childhood and utilizes this gift while guiding others. She started on this healing journey in 1997 with Reiki and meditations. She became aware of rebirthing breathwork in a dream in the year 2000 when she was bedridden due to a severe spinal injury and was guided in her dream to do breathwork. She then trained directly under Leonard Orr, the founder of the rebirthing breathwork, and has been teaching rebirthing breathwork since the year 2000. On the full moon night in October 2016, Chitra was blessed with the healing energy, which she combines with other healing techniques that were revealed to her in a dream. The true purpose of her life is to help and guide people in healing themselves and to connect back to the source and the universe. Welcome, Chitra.
Thank you, Devendra.
So, Chitra, my first question to you is, going back to the title of your session, which is called Rebirthing Breathwork and How Prana Changes One's Reality. Now, as a student and teacher of yoga, I'm familiar with prana. In fact, my organization is called Cultivate Prana. Would you explain to our global audience what is your interpretation of prana?
See, prana is the life force energy. One calls it chi, divine energy, the vital energy, which is everywhere around us. And when it enters the body, it flows through the nadis, the energy channels, giving us vitality and strength. And all living beings, the plants, everybody survive on this prana.
So could you tell a little bit more? You mentioned certain terms, you mentioned nadis, you mentioned vitalities. Give us a little bit more in-depth understanding of how does this life force, this energy, enter and circulate into our body?
See, the prana that enters the body takes the help of the breath. It is said, the prana rides the breath. So when the prana goes inside our breath, and when we do it on a conscious level, we do through breath work. When it goes inside the nadis, it goes through nadis are the energy channels. Nadis is a Sanskrit word. For English, it is the energy channels, which we cannot see. And there are about 72,000 energy channels in our body. That's what the scriptures say. And when it enters the body, it clears the blockages. And these blockages that are there in the nadis there can be many, many reasons for that, for the blockages. And when it enters the nadis, it clears them, giving us strength, giving us life. Prana is the source of everything that is happening inside our body. All body functions are regulated by it. And when the prana enters the nadis, the energy is distributed based on the quality and capacity of the nadis, which means the flow of a prana totally depends on the space that is available in our nadis. Prana affects everything, the quality of our thoughts, emotions, mental and physical health, consciousness. Everything that we experience is directly related to the quality and circulation of prana in our body. And when there is imbalance in the prana, that is the energy, it leads to illness, diseases in the body. mind, spirit. Most of the times, people I've seen, people breathe incorrectly, using only a small portion of their lungs and completely ignoring the diaphragm. It is said that the breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. So it regulates the breath, and the mind and body will follow. That is a saying. So prana is like giving us life. Anything and everything we are experiencing, which is unpleasant, prana can help it. And it uses breath as a vehicle to go inside our body.
So Chitra, there was so much information that was packed in it. And I want to start going a little bit deeper into each segment. So you said something about blockages.
Yes.
Explain to our global audience here, because this is something that can happen consciously or unconsciously. How are we creating blockages in our life? What are some of the reasons why these energy channels would get blocked?
See, if we really go deeper, there are many channels to it. One thing leading to another, and many things are interlinked. So, in a short way and in a simple way, I would like to say that we Indians, Hindus, believe in karma. So, the karmic things that we are bringing in this body and life, they decide basically what are the blockages. And if we go through the Western mind, we go into the reasonings like we're experiencing something unpleasant, then it could be because of this trauma we have experienced or that trauma we experienced. Maybe it be birth trauma or womb trauma, parental disapproval. And if we go through the East, we go deeper into it and say, like everybody knows, we chose our parents, we choose our experiences on a soul level. We have soul contracts. Why did we choose that? Obviously, there were lessons to be learned, and plus the karma. So the blockages and everything is due to the karma, I would say. And when the prana enters, it negates the effect of karma. Karmic healings happen. DNA regeneration happens. Gene work happens. Gene repairs. Soul family healing happens. Ancestral healing happens.
Thank you for that, Chitra. And I know you have had such profound experiences in your own life.
Yes.
I got goosebumps reading your intro there, because you mentioned so many times about having dreams and how you were guided in your dreams to use breath as a vehicle for your own transformation, for your own healing. If it's okay with you, would you share with us some of those experiences?
Yes,
what did they teach you?
Absolutely, because why I would want to share these experiences, because I would like to tell the people, see, anything and everything can be healed through the breath, which is a very simple yet powerful tool. Transformations happen, miracles happen. I would share my story with you. It's a long story, I'll cut it short. I had a severe neural foraminal stenosis, and I was bedridden. My hands were numb. Not only hands, my arms were numb. My back was numb. And the doctors were suggesting immediate surgery. Even the doctor whose appointment diary was full, when he met me, he said, take an appointment for tomorrow. It was so severe. And when I used to ask them, I went to several hospitals, and when I used to ask the doctor, neurosurgeons, okay, you're telling me for surgery, will I recover fully? The answer used to be either silence or in negative. And my heart was telling me, no, Chitra, this is not. No. If after the surgery I'm not able to walk properly or not able to travel, and fine, I'll be able to stand and do minimal work. Right now I'm bedridden, but this is not the life I would want to lead. Certainly not. This was 20 years ago. So one day I said no to all the doctors and no to my family. No, I'm not going for surgery. And it, the pain and everything was very severe. I wasn't able to sleep at night. So one day I found an Ayurvedic doctor who still does. He does marma massage, shiastu. And I went to him in one session. I was able to sit. So I took 3 sessions from him. After 3 sessions, I was able to walk. I was able to hold a glass of water in my hand, hold cake of soap, in my hand, which I was not able to do earlier. But I was not back to the normal. I couldn't even lift my purse comfortably. Traveling was a big no for me. When I used to go for my shiatsu session, I used to tell the driver to drive very slowly. I used to drive at the speed of 30. And still I used to tell him slow down. And in between, he used to stop several times so that, I can sit and breathe and then travel again. It was a scary thing. And I kept praying at that time, the God, or if you want to call it the universe, what should I do? What should I do? Because I'm still not back to normal. At least I can sit and stand, but I'm not able to do anything else a normal person can do. Then I started dreaming about the foods that I should eat. I said, okay, I had those foods. I included many things in my diet. And then I had a dream even about the Ayurvedic medicine I should take. It was a syrup, along with the brand and the cover of the medicine. But still, it was not the normal self. Then one night I had a dream, and in the dream, a person came and he said, Chitra, you should breathe. And I said, I am breathing. And he said, no, you are not. And I said, I was upset. And I was like, if I was not breathing, I would have died. I am breathing. Don't tell me, what to do. And what he did, he said, okay, I'll tell you how to do. And he made me some positions, hands and knees position, which we do in rebirthing breathwork. And I was like, what is that? And then I got to know about rebirthing and did several sessions of rebirthing. And then I found Leonard, did training with Leonard, and training healed many things with Leonard. Because Leonard training is not only about breath work, it is about spiritual purification also. We include all the 5 elements and how one can use them in our daily life in simple ways and heal ourselves. So I realized how our breath is connected to everything that is happening in our life, and I became of the breath. I became aware of the flow of the breath. And when I became aware, I started noticing and paying attention to it. I realized how simple yet magical and transformational the breath is. And it is the tool the universe has given us, which we can use all the time. It is a lifeline. And it's not only about mental health, physical health, emotional health, even financial. Financial, I've seen in my clients, financial breakthroughs have happened. I would like to, just add one thing into it. Lahiri Masaya, the first person whom Babaji initiated into rebirthing breathwork. When people used to go to him for any problem, one thing he used to say, just breathe. That's it. It is magical. And here I am, I didn't need the surgery.
That is a truly transformational story, Chitra. And you mentioned something about even seeing foods that you should be eating in your dreams to heal yourself. And we know that not just breath, the air that we breathe is a source of prana, but as you're talking about the elements, right? I would like to explore that with you today. What are the kind of foods, if somebody is looking for prana-rich foods, are there certain foods that people can incorporate in the
Vegetarian diet, I
invite?
would say. Vegetarian diet and fresh, not the processed. The processed foods don't have any life in them. The more we connect to the nature, the more prana we have. It is very simple things, We are going into the processed foods and everything because it's easy, but it's complex. They have been stored for how many months?
So food, breath, how are the elements connected, Chitra? I got very intrigued when you started talking about the elements. Would you tell us a little bit about how are the elements incorporated in this physical body, number one? And then how do we harness the power of these elements through practices like breathwork?
See, it is very simple. When we say air, we mean the breath, the prana. So now what one needs to do with the breath, I'm not saying go and learn the breath work or something. It's very simple, The way we breathe, it has to be the proper way. There are times I see people not using their lungs at all. Lungs are made for inhaling the oxygen, it has to go into the lungs. The lungs are totally blocked. They're focusing on the belly breathing. Okay, fine, but lungs have to be fully operational, functional, open. That is one thing, very important thing one needs to do. Breathe into your lungs, then connect your breathing, lungs to the diaphragm. Lungs have to be open. What is the function of lungs? People are forgetting that. Then exercise is very important in fresh air. I'm not saying gym. I'm saying fresh air is very, very important for the body. It clears many things. It gives you joy. It gives you happiness. Even a walk into the nature. I tell my clients, who say, "Oh, we can't go." I said, "Okay, go into the balcony. Breathe in some fresh air every day." That is very important.
And if I may just interject there, Chitra, because in Western households, this is so, I live in the US and we have artificially heated and cooled environments where many times the same air is circulating. And I've been noticing a profound difference just by the first thing in the morning when I wake up is I go outside and I cleanse my lungs because I will do those forced exhalations to make sure all the air, the stagnant air that has accumulated inside the lungs, I move that air out. And just by going out and breathing the fresh air in. Now, here again is the connection between prana because it's not something that could be measured, right? As being educated now in the West, I always think about data and measurements and show me. If you can't show me, I won't trust it, right?
Yes, a lot of reasons are required in the yeah.
So, but the simple thing which you said is you telling your clients just to go outside, take a walk, and the profound difference that fresh air makes in your energy, vitality it's tremendous. So I just wanted to echo that with you because that's something that I have been practicing in my life on a regular basis every day.
It makes a lot of difference. At times that people do, okay, fine, we have done sessions, fine, okay, and it's over. I said, this is something you have to do. It's like, you want to reduce your weight. You have to be regular in that. You don't say, stop when you reach that level, that weight. You don't say, okay, stop. Now I can eat anything and everything. You have to maintain that. So in the same way, when things have opened up for you, it is not that you can say, okay, fine, I'm going back to my normal self, that I was earlier. And prana works in such a way you don't even have to put an intention. I've realized have clients come over to me and they have never mentioned, and at the end they were used to say, "Oh, I have quit smoking," and I even didn't know that the person was a smoker. They have come and said, "I used to party a lot and it has reduced. I don't go, and I've stopped drinking." People have had very profound, results.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal. And I think that leads to my next question, which is when you say how prana changes one's reality, and you gave us a little bit glimpse of how prana is changing people's habits, right? Things that they were maybe for years they are trying to get rid of. And here is a simple thing, which is adding breath work into their routine, getting prana into their body, cleansing their nadis and channels. So going back again to your title, it's very intriguing. You say prana, how prana changes one's reality. So if you can spend a little bit time, I would really want to dive deep into what is the meaning of reality in its physical, in its esoteric, in its philosophical sense, and how are prana and reality connected to one another?
See, if we go from the spiritual point of view, there is no reality. It is everything is Maya, an illusion. So, and but since we are on this earth, density is there and everything. So, when I say reality is, I would say what is real, the truth, the state of things as they are, and we are not imagining things. That is what I mean by reality, what we're experiencing. What is happening around us, which is affecting us. So that is our reality. And prana helps a lot in changing that. Like I said, prana negates the effect of karma, heavy karma. So when that gets lifted, obviously our reality changes to a positive one. And I would like to add also not only prana, that is the air, element, earth, water, fire, ether, all together. If we use all of them, it helps manifold. Fire helps us in cleaning. Water helps us. Earth, ether, the space, the affirmations that we say, what we say, the words that we choose, everything helps. Like if we are doing rebirthing breathwork and our thoughts are still negative, we are again going to back to the same thing, because we will create our reality by the seeds that we are sowing in our mind. So we need to use all the 5 things, all the 5 elements. That's why I said, Leonard's training were not only breathwork, they were spiritual purification also was included, which helped us, everyone, a lot.
Thank you, Chitra. I think towards the end, we would love for you to share a practice with us on how our global audience can use some simple breathing techniques to invite prana into their body. But before we go there, would you also comment on the other elements? Because I keep coming back to it. I'm very interested in that.
Yes.
What are some of the very simple, tell us a few, maybe just a few examples, very simple things that people can use to harness the elemental energy, and even that will bring prana into their body. How can they do that in their simple daily living?
See, the first thing that we're talking about is the air, that is the breath. Go out. You say you do not have time, take a few minutes initially. I'm not saying spend hours. Begin with 10 minutes. 10 minutes, not a big thing. Go out anytime. Whatever time you have, early in the morning or in the evening, and breathe in fresh air. That is one thing, very simple thing. Then earth, the food that you eat, be conscious about that. Be conscious about what you're putting inside your body. Be aware of that. Water, very important. Where it is so healing, therapeutic. Bathing twice a day, one in the morning and second time when you come back from work. That time, very important. It cleanses the aura, because you're meeting so many people, strangers, you're out, a lot of energy is there. So bathing twice a day helps in clearing the aura. And then the fire element. See, You are aware of it. I'm sure you must be aware of it. Uh, we had the tradition of yagna, havan. It clears the energy and it clears the mind too. Tremendous results. It works in, it's magical fire. I've seen, I do, apart from the trainings, rebirthing breathwork and spiritual purification training, I do introductory workshops also. So in the introductory workshop, I make them experience with the fire. And people say, when we sit with the fire, so many thoughts come up which gets cleared that we were not even aware they were there inside us. Spend time. If you do not have the space for the fire, I would say candles. Tea light candles are the best, not the ones with the glasses and the wick is inside, the flame is required. So they can use the candles. That helps in magical ways. You're working or something, light a candle. Maybe not one, two, or maybe more than that. It really changes. With the water, even here with the water, if you have known in earlier times, about 30, 40 years ago, whosoever used to come, like in the movies also, it's seen people are washing their feet and hands first before entering the house. It was a must. You're clearing your energy, you've touched other people's hands, feet, it was very important. And I would say, please do that. There are times people think, oh, it's winter, let me not take a shower. No. Because then what happens, that energy gets stuck inside. It's better we clean it every day rather letting it get stuck inside.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Chitra. And just one more element then, ether, the Akash
Yes,
element.
ether,
Is
the
there a
space,
practice
yes.
for that?
Yes, the thoughts. Watch the words that you use, because these are the seeds that you're sowing for your life. Just remove the negative words. I would say remove them from your dictionary. Watch the words. They have a big effect on our life.
I couldn't agree more, Chitra, on that.
And use
That
affirmations. If
shapes
you're
our
aware of
mind.
the affirmations, then I would say use affirmations.
So, Chitra, you've spent so much time with Leonard Orr. You've even hosted for him his trainings in India during his lifetime. What were some of your profound key learnings from Leonard? And maybe if you feel comfortable and if you feel the calling, if you want to even share what were your learnings or what Babaji would like to speak to this audience today who are watching you and this interview. What were some of your key learnings?
See, from Leonard, the most important thing I learned from him was about spiritual purification, about clearing our energy body. In fact, I would say, my family was already doing spiritual purification except fire. Except fire. We were not using the fire, but earth and air. These two elements we were not using, but we were using the other three. But I didn't know the reason why I'm supposed to take bath twice a day. Why my grandmother is specifies on certain foods that we are supposed to eat, and the way we are supposed to eat. Chanting, a lot of chanting used to happen in my house, and everybody used to do it. My grandmother, my mother, my father also used to do it. But I didn't know the reason. And I'm the kind of person who always have questions. I need to know the reason, why you're doing it, okay, you do it, why you making me do it, So they didn't have the answer because it was like a family tradition that everybody has to follow. It has coming from generations maybe. So my grandmother was doing it. Obviously my father was doing it. My mother was doing it, and we were also supposed to do it. But why are we supposed to do it when I see my friends not doing it? We are the only ones doing it. So I learned from Leonard the reasons, and that really had opened my eyes. That really opened my eyes. How they clean our energy body, and they are very simple things. Nothing is complex over here. We don't need anything extra. Everything is available. So I knew the importance of spiritual purification. And I would say it is only through directly experiencing these practices for ourselves that we can truly understand their immeasurable value. It awakens our natural divinity. And by reading it about it and all, it's all okay. But we need to experience it to understand it. From Leonard, I learned about the power of breath. That is one thing. Leonard was very open about his life, and he used to share it freely. There was no hiding about anything, not telling anybody anything, or. So, and he used to write about it, in his newsletters or in his emails, and that was very inspirational. That, like, if some trauma is coming out or something, how is he dealing with it? What is he doing? So that was to it's in in a way it's like a study, you know. So that was very inspirational and powerful. And Leonard had an immense knowledge on Indian scriptures, immense knowledge, and about the saints, whom he called immortals. So him introducing me to Sariska Bhartriji, who's an immortal, a saint, more than 2000 years old. His introduction to him, in fact, all the trainings that we had in Sariska, they were practical experiences. Very little theory thing was there. All practical experiences. And the energy was different, completely different. And the way Leonard used to share things, like I said, I asked questions. The way he used to answer them and his knowledge for books, he used to say, okay, go and read this book. It has the answers. It was something I cannot put to words. In fact, not, when we do Leonard's training, Leonard never used to do the sessions. He only did the sessions, gave the sessions, in the master training. But otherwise, his teachers that came, they were like fantastic. Kim from Australia, Sheila Bissett from US, Tom, Roy Moore, they were fantastic, teachers. They, the way they did sessions was amazing. And the way Leonard shared about everything was freely sharing. No control. No control. And flexibility. Uh, but about Babaji, I would say, he guided three things he said that one should do always when one does conscious breathing. One he said was always drink a glass of water before you start a session, because when you breathe in consciously, a lot of energy is generated, heat, and all the organs cannot take that much of heat. So it's better to have a glass of water so that when the energy goes in, they are cooled down with that water. Then he said, the gap between the food and the breath work. Because when you have food in your belly, stomach, already a process is happening. And then you start another process by breathing. So not to mix two processes, keep a gap of 6 hours between breath work and food. And if you're having fruit, then have a gap of 4 hours between foods and the breath work. And the third thing he said was, after the session is over, go for Laghu Shanka. Now, Laghu Shanka is the word, which is like emptying the bladder. You must, because the heat is generated, things have, toxins have come out. It is a must. Get up and go for, even if you don't feel like, but you go and sit. That is very important. And the last very important, fourth thing he said was very important. Be gentle with the breath. Don't force it. Because even if you see, if people check their nostrils and do inhalation from one nose and the other nose, they will notice one is more open and the second one is a little bit blocked. There's always this thing. So he said, and there are blockages in the nadis. Since we are on this earth, we are dealing with stuff and all. There's obviously, blockages. So when you force the inhale, you think, okay, I'm not inhaling. Let me force the inhale, let the more prana go in. Nadis can burst because they are very gentle. So be gentle on the breath. Don't do forceful breath, because if the nadis burst, leakage can happen. And we do not get to know that immediately. We get to know after decades.
This is profound knowledge, Chitra. Thank you so much for sharing that. Those 4 points that you shared, I did not think about it, that one should be drinking water before breath practice, because you're absolutely right. You're cleansing the body, you are taking moisture out of the body. So it's important for the organs to hydrate. And then emptying after the practice is also something that actually I learned practicing with you, that it's important to, because breath is 70-80% of our toxins in the body are actually eliminated by the breath, right? And the remaining are through other systems in the body. So as you said earlier, Leonard always emphasized on practice, right? And breath work, there's nothing more practical than breath work. So before we go, is there anything else that you want to share? Because I'd love for you to share maybe a 5-minute practice with our global audience before we end this session.
I would love to share, but at the same time, I would like to say, there is no instructions we have as such, that this is the way, it needs to start and one has to do this, at the end. Because we see it, because the breath varies from person to person. It is rebirthing breathwork is an intuitive energy breathing. So the instructions they give while giving a session varies from person to person. But I can certainly share a few inputs, Rebirthing breathwork is gentle, connected, rhythmic breathing. So you have to connect your inhale with your exhale and exhale with your inhale. And one has to use both the lungs and the diaphragm. And it has to be the full breath. That means, it has to be full. And when you breathe in, most of the times what happens, if there are blockages and one is not aware how to breathe correctly, what we do for the inhalation, we move our body, we move our muscles. And we think, okay, we are inhaling. Whereas rather than inhalation, you're moving our head, and there are times you're moving our shoulders and the chest, which is not the correct way. So you make sure body is still and it's just the breath going up towards the top of your head. One has to make sure of that, because breathing not only supplies the body with oxygen, but also expels the waste products and toxins.
Like so, Chitra, would you say that again? Would you say that again? So the directionality that you said, when you breathe, you inhaling through the nostril, the breath, you visualize the breath going up, and then does it go down towards the lung, or just stays?
See, there are energy channels. If you take the breath properly, inhalation properly, it goes through the channel. It's like, and the channel knows where it's going. So it has to go to the top of the head, and from there it automatically goes. It has to be the full breath. That's what I'm saying. Don't put pressure. Initially inhale as much as you can, and slowly, make your inhales longer. because there are times people have the habit of belly breathing, so it becomes really difficult for them. But make sure your body is not moving, your body is still, it's just the breath. So you can do one thing. By how to check that, you can put your fingers on the lung tips over here and see, it is going up, the lung tips, the collarbone, the lung tips are here. And see, this is going up rather than the head or the shoulder or something. And you just let go. And you have to connect. Connection is a very important thing, merging of the inhale with the exhale and exhale with the inhale. And quick, shallow breaths, avoid that. But if you are in the habit, that's what I'm saying. Breathe in as much as you can and then slowly take your inhales, long inhales. It is like a full yogic breath. You will feel the sensations inside your body when you do the full yogic breath. You will feel the vibrations, tingling sensations, It is magical.
So, yeah, with that said, Chitra, let's please guide us through a few conscious connected breaths. So we get to experience that prana coming in and the full inhalation and the connected inhale with the exhale.
Okay. Like I said, the instructions are different from person to person. It totally depends how the person is healing, and then you correct the person. But anyway, I would say, relax. First of all, relaxation is a must. Don't stress yourself over it. Just relax. Start with the normal breath. You will relax and then pull in the inhale through the nostrils. Take it up to the top of your head as long as you can and exhale with a snap. It goes. And then again, merge your exhale with your inhale. Take the breath in again and exhale. Gentle, connected rhythm. These three things one should remember. Gentle, connected, rhythmic breathing. And to help you to understand whether it's going into the lungs and connecting, keep your fingers on the lung tips, which is the collarbone. The lung tips are here. And you will feel them going up your collarbone. Breathe in and exhale. And connect the breath. And when you do this, a lot of toxins will get released that are there inside the body. Like full yogic breath.
Even just those few rounds were really profound because as a yoga practitioner, I realize how much of my diaphragm and low lung I use, and I completely forget about this part. And there's I think, a lot of misinformation around you should not be breathing in this part. Well, we have full lungs, right? They go from bottom to top. And the intercostal muscles, the rib cage, using all of that to allow you to breathe fully, as you said, in the traditional yogic terms, we call the three-part breathing. But still the emphasis is so much on the bottom. So just having that experience, like it's very energetic, especially if you take it calmly rather than, in a abrupt, intermittent fashion. If you take it calmly, there's a lot of even with the few rounds, I felt a lot of good energy moving into the body.
And I would like to add something over here. There are times people say, oh, yogic breathing is the belly breathing. We have to practice the belly breathing. See, it is mentioned over there, belly breathing. I say, yes, it is mentioned. But when was that thing written down? How many years ago? How many 100 years ago was that written? Because at that time, everybody was into physical work. And when you're working physically, the air goes inside your lungs too. Men used to work physically in the field, everywhere or whatever they were doing, it was physical work. So women were working, physical work was done in the kitchen. It was all, the lungs were clear, the lungs were open. And now, since we are used to not doing so much physical activity, has closed down. You're not used to it. So open up your lungs, breathe into your lungs. There's so much of blockages that has happened, of people not taking full breath.
Chitrakal, thank you so much. Really appreciate your knowledge, your wisdom. How can people learn about you and your work? Is there a website that they can go?
I have a Facebook page by my name, Chitra Kaul, so they can go over there and have a look.
Chitrakal, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being part of this summit.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining the Rebirthing Breathwork Summit, brought to you by Cultivate Prana. To learn more, visit cultivateprana.com or rebirthingbreathworksummit.com.